Hey guys, it's Morgan from our city youth. Today I want to talk to you about validation. Now, for a disclaimer, I'm going to say validation, I'm going to say approval. The two terms are really interchangeable, they essentially mean the same thing. And so let's start with where we get our validation or approval from. So there's a couple of different avenues. If you're in the workplace, it looks like, oh, I have this great idea. I can't wait to tell my boss. I hope they get behind it. For some of us, it may be jumping through several hoops and talking through to several people to get that approval. There is also the approval through our peers. So worrying about what we wear or what we look like on a daily basis, or did I make the winning shot in the game last night, or did I make an A on the test? That can also relate to how the approval that we receive from our parents. All of us have different ways in which we receive validation and approval, but the one thing that is universal is how we feel when we encounter disapproval. And so if you've ever been in a situation where somebody has not approved of your actions, a couple of things you've probably felt are insecurity, or you feel like you're not very smart or you're not good enough. And those times can be very difficult. And so what I want to do today is I want to direct you to the Word and what the Lord has to say about this. Specifically in his letter to the Galatians, in Galatians 1:10, Paul writes, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." There are so many times where we idolize and put people's opinions of us on a pedestal, and we know how the Lord feels about idols. Really what we need to focus on is our true identity in Christ. In Romans, it tells us that we are sons and daughters of the Lord. In Luke, it calls us to love our enemies, to bless those who curse us. In Matthew, we're called to share the gospel to the ends of the earth. And then in Galatians, again, it calls us to walk by the Spirit. And so I want to leave you with this hope today that the love that the Lord has for us and the calling that he has placed on our life is not performance-based. It is not based on the validation that we receive from man. It's purely based on who he has created us to be. Man's approval dictates how I act in a moment, but God's approval dictates how I live my life. Thank you, guys.